Hey guys, just wanted to make a new video today and I wanted to talk about creating your offer when you're outreaching to clients. Now, this is something that I've had problems with myself in the past, and you kind of always will at some point. Things are always changing, as they do in business, as they do in life. This has also been something that not just I have come across, I think most people, especially a couple of friends that I've spoken to recently. And I think there's a very basic level blueprint that you should be following when you're crafting your offers. So I hope, I'm gonna go through it for you guys, and I hope that it makes some level of sense for you. Now, one additional thing that I'll go into just before I start explaining is providing free value for these prospects, for these people that you're hoping to work with in the future. One thing that I found particularly helpful myself is putting together a Loom video. And whether you're just trying to put together some free value and explain, these are some general problems that, business owners within this niche or whatever they have problems with this. And you're saying that, okay, I can see that you may have similar problems. I'm seeing that there are a few things that you could tweak. One thing I will strongly advise against is telling them that whatever they're doing is terrible. No relationship starts very well by saying, whatever you're offering and your service or the ads that you're running, they're terrible. They're really bad. What you do is terrible. I have a way better way of doing it. Whether that is true or not, and chances are it is true, I don't think the average business owner is going to think, well, this person's trashing what I'm currently doing. It's a bit insulting. They have an ego, they have a pride, like any average human being. They're probably not going to think, this is someone I really want to work with. I want to hear more. They're going to be a bit put off by that. So I would advise that you're kind of talking on a more or less basic, simple level, not trying to go super, super deep and trying to majorly insult what they're currently doing. And yeah, I would say with these outreaches, if you do decide to use Loom to help you out, I would say, especially if you're trying to, send out as many Looms as you possibly can, I would say first and foremost, try and make sure that they are personalized. You don't want to try and make it seem like you're being overly generalized with what you're saying. You want the business owner or the recipient of this email to feel like this person actually cares somewhat about this business. They're not just sending some copy and paste, some salesy nonsense. That will completely turn them off. But if you're providing some level of understanding that actually this is something very specific that you guys do, and I've looked through everything, I understand this level of whatever you're doing, whether it's your services, your products, whatever it is, you have to show that you have some level of actual care, and not that you're just turning up with some script and you're just copy and pasting, or you're just kind of reading off the screen, right? You want to show that you truly care about their business, that you want to try and get them the best results and try and, build a better future for them. So yeah, with the free plan on Loom, I think you can only send 25 Looms. I think that is the maximum that you can send. If you're planning on doing a significant amount of outreach and you're trying to just completely blitz, send as many as possible, trying to just go completely crazy, which, good on you, I would say get the paid plan. You don't want to have too many problems cropping up where you're not able to film as many as you want, or that you're just struggling to just keep up with how many you've got. I think it makes it a lot easier, a lot simpler. That's what I currently do. And compared to other people I know, especially when I first started, having just 25 as your limit it's a bit frustrating, and it limits what you can really do in terms of mass outreach. So going into the first part of how to structure your offer, I would say tell them what their problem is. Tell them what issue they keep on running into. And I've kind of already glossed over this in this video, where most businesses, there's no business that is entirely perfect. There's always going to be one little area that needs some level of improvement. And your job is just going to be essentially do a free audit for them. You're kind of going to look through and think, well, they're doing this, and they've got the ads here, and maybe their website is not using the right copy, or maybe the funnel isn't it's not set up properly. Maybe they're not looking into the sophistication level of their market in the right way. Maybe they're using a very extremely high level when for whatever they're providing, whatever service or product, the sophistication level might be quite low. So you have to look into these things, and you have to make sure that you are right on the ball with it, because you don't want to kind of send this loom or maybe turn up on a call with them if they end up getting interested, and then you find out what you're saying is wrong, and then you go from a kind of being hero to zero. This has happened to me before. So yeah, you don't want to turn up as someone who's kind of, you think you've got everything right. You don't want to then turn into someone who's like, oh, okay, well, now I have to pivot. What I thought was right is not actually correct. We're going to have to change some things. That's going to decrease the level of trust that this prospect and potential client will have in you. And they are much more likely to start having second thoughts, second guesses. They're a lot more likely to go completely cold on you, as if you've never spoken to them. Again, I'm talking from experience. They'll probably completely ghost you. So make sure you show up as that guy. Show up as that person who gets it done, knows their stuff, and you're not having to pivot, change all the time. Make sure you know your stuff, make sure you're ready. Now, the next thing that I would say is make their problem hurt. I think making them realize that, the problem that you have could be, extremely detrimental. It could really impact your future. It could make things very slow for you guys. If you're really putting emphasis on the negative impacts that are going to happen, they're much more likely to take action. If they feel that there's some level of urgency with this problem that you found for them, they're a lot more likely to think, I'm at least going to try and find out more. They're going to try and think, well, hold on a minute. I don't really want to keep on running into this issue. And it might be something that they haven't thought of themselves before. It might be something that they've never had a second perspective on, and it's just never come across their mind. And I would say that this part is quite important because it leverages loss aversion. People, they're going to feel a much more emotional connection to this issue. And they're going to think, okay, we have to sort this out. They can't just keep on going on as if this problem's already there. You have to instill that level of emotion within them. You have to evoke some level of emotion. You have to evoke some level of, okay, we have to do something about it, and we have to do it now. Going back to the urgency that I mentioned previously. Now, the next thing that I would mention is to tell them that there is a solution. Now, you don't want to just keep on, making them feel bad, making them feel negative. You kind of want to establish some level of narrative. Like, you're the hero that swooped in to save the day. You're there, you found some issues that, they've never really thought of, or they just haven't really had an idea of how to fix it. And now you're going to come in as that guy. You have that solution. You're going to be like, hey, there is a way. I'd very much love to, go into it for you. This specific problem, I've been doing it recently. I've done it for previous clients. I have some results to show you for it. I have some testimonials to go with this. And that's going to give them a greater sense of relief. They're going to think, okay, so it's not all too bad. Maybe this guy, they might just have something that is really going to help us. And again, this is something that is probably going to help you guys get a lot more people on calls with you. And I think as I've mentioned in previous videos, improve your sales, because just getting them onto the call is probably the best thing that you can do. If your sales are already good, you're most likely going to be able to sell them on. Obviously, make sure that what you're offering is good, as I'm going through in this video, but your sales need to be on point. You don't want to just lose them completely, because it's hard enough getting a lot of business owners on these calls. They're busy people. They've got not much time on their hands, and you don't want to be that person who's wasting their time. Now, going on to the next phase, I would say you want to then show them what your solution is. And I would say be careful of how you do this. I think you don't want to be giving them all of your secret sauce on, your outreach Loom video or whatever it is that you're doing. You don't want to just tell them everything that you're doing. You want to say, there's this way. You want to kind of give them the skeleton of it, but you don't want to give them the meat. You don't want to give them all the muscles, the ligaments, tendons. You don't want to give them all of that, not just yet. So you want to try and frame it in such a way that, this is the thing. This is the only thing that's going to get you the desired outcome. This is, without this, you're not going to be able to solve this issue. And this will hopefully pique their interest and get them onto that call with you, because that's the goal, really. That's the goal with the outreach. You want people to see that video or see whatever body text that you're sending in your email or your DMs, whatever it is. You want them to see it and think, okay, let's find out a bit more. Let's see what this guy is really about. And let's see if, if this guy is really legitimate, if he's really true to what he's saying, he could do some really big things for our business. And this is something that we need right now. Now that you have alerted them about whatever problems and issues that they are currently facing. Now, the next thing to do would be tell them what's included. Tell them what is involved in what you're going to be providing for them. Now, I think this is extremely helpful because for this prospect, they're going to be able to at least justify why they're going to work with you, why they're going to pay whatever sum of money it is that they are going to pay to work with you. And it's going to reduce a lot of friction, a lot of confusion, and hopefully any excess questions that you have. You want to try and make sure that they have as few questions as possible and they have the highest level of understanding before they dive into working with you, if that does happen. You want to make sure it's a smooth transition. You don't want them to, be asking 50 different questions and you're thinking, well, these are basic questions. I could have answered them for you before. You want to make sure that all of the simple stuff, all of the, FAQs, frequently asked questions, you want to make sure that you've got those out the way. You want the real meaty questions to be asked of you once you get past this stage. Once you get past the outreach stage, that is all you want to be going into. Now, for this next step, I would say tell them how much it's going to cost. Now, I think this very much depends on where you are in your journey. I think once you get to a higher point where you've got a lot more credibility, a lot more trust within your market, and you've got, I'll emphasize video testimonials are amazing because it shows that real people are actually saying, yes, this guy is trustworthy. You should work with this guy. He's a good guy. He gets great results. But once you've got a lot of those, once you've got everything, I think it would be best within your offer to suggest how much it's going to cost. And I'd say it's important to provide some transparency for your prospect, because once you provide that transparency, the price of your service is going to be more of a framing tool rather than a barrier. And it's going to encourage value comparison. And it's going to make them think, well, actually, for the price that this person is giving me, in terms of what I get back in return, well, actually, this might not be too much of a bad deal, and I might actually go for this. This is a very good deal, and I'm going to get a lot back in return. And especially if you've got lots and lots of strong results and strong testimonials, it's going to make it very easy for your client to go for you. And again, I'll emphasize just how important those testimonials and results are for you. Because once clients can see plenty of those and they can just see so many reviews, it's easy. Just makes it nice and simple for them to say, you know what? If so many people have gone and worked with this guy, why not me? Why can't it work for me? It makes it a much smoother transition for you and a much smoother transition for them. Now, after this, I would say the best thing that you can do is provide a guarantee for this prospect. And one thing that's particularly worked well for myself is, especially with revenue share deals, saying that you won't take a single penny more until the results that you provide are more than what they were previously doing. So let's say a client was doing, I don't know, $19,000 in sales. I'd be saying, okay, until you do more than $19,000 in sales, I'm not going to take a penny from you. And that provides a safety net for them. That makes them think, okay, well, if they don't do that, which, to be fair, most of these people are assuming you're all talk. That's what they're assuming. They're thinking, this guy could do it. He could do it. He might be able to get me these results, but I don't know. But this gives them the perfect safety net. It reduces risk aversion as well from the prospect, but more importantly for this whole step, it just shows how much confidence you have in your offer. It shows how much confidence you have in your services and what you can provide. So it makes it so much easier for this prospect to say, okay, well, this guy seems to be pretty confident that he's going to get some money from me. He's very confident that, he's going to walk away being able to get me some big results, but also end up with some money in his pocket too. So I think the best way to look at it in this case is you're trying to reduce as much of the fears that this prospect might have in terms of putting any time and money to invest into you and think, this is a guy that I trust. This is a guy that I'll work with. This is a guy that I think, you know what? This sounds like a good deal for me. This can work out for me. I don't feel like I will get scammed from this. And it makes it so much easier. And finally, all you have to do is give them a CTA. Just give them a call to action. Most people are going to need a nudge. So you might say, there's a link in the email, or give me some feedback, whatever it is. You need to give them some form of CTA. And by just giving them that little nudge, it's going to make the whole process a lot more seamless. Hopefully you can just, if they have any questions, probably ask them. If they have any questions, they can ask it in the email before you get on the call, and just try and make it simple, and just let them know that they can, if they do want to book a call with you, they can book it at any time of their convenience on Calendly. That's what I currently use, but just to make it nice and simple. And I would also say that you need to be direct with this, because you want to keep a hold of any of the emotional or logical momentum that you've built up with this prospect. And once you've built all of that up, you don't want to just completely stunt whatever progress you've got. You don't want to completely stunt your growth. You want to keep it strong. You want to, keep the flame going and, strike while it's hot and say, here you go, something direct, give them a nice and simple CTA and get that call booked. So, you want to make it as nice and simple as possible, and you should be confident enough in yourself and are hopefully working hard enough where you can say, you know what, this person's going to book. I'm confident in my offer. I'm confident that, mentally they've probably said yes. If you've done all the steps correctly, or maybe you have a few little twists of your own, a few little tweaks that you like to do yourself, and maybe they have worked for you. That's great. But if they work for you, make sure to use them. Make sure to do them to the best of your ability. And once they do get on that sales call with you, make sure to crush it. So yeah, I'm hoping that you guys are already crushing it as much as you possibly can, not just with your offers. I do hope that this video has been, again, to some level helpful for you guys. I hope that it's provided some actionable value for you guys that you can take on into the future. And I hope that you're also crushing your sales practice, whatever it is, in all areas of your business and even life as well. I hope that you're just pushing as hard as you can, learning as much as you can, utilizing your time as much as you possibly can to then come out on top, to then push yourself to heights that you've never thought you could reach. So yeah, this is the current offer structure that I use. It makes it kind of nice and simple for people to say yes. You want to use that step-by-step format where you take them to the point where they find out what their problem is, they truly feel what that problem is. Then They find out what that solution could be and how it could work for them and if it could fit for them and their business. And, getting them to that final phase where they feel comfortable enough to take a further step with you, to get on that call with you, to then think, you know what, this is someone that I really want to work with in the future. And I want to work with long term in the future. Because if they can find this problem, how many other problems can they find? How many other little things can they fix for me that can improve my business? And all in all, you want to make your offer something that is very easy to say yes to. You don't want to overcomplicate it. You don't want to make it too difficult for your prospect to understand. And that's not to say that business owners are dumb, but you don't want to try and make it too difficult. You don't want to try and give them tiny pathways to say, I don't think I can say yes. I don't think I can, go further with this guy. Or they might have some random extra reason to say no to whatever you're offering, whatever service, whatever product, whatever it is. You don't want to give them that little pathway, that little escape to say, I want to avoid that. I don't really want to. I don't feel like it. Maybe now's not a good time. Call me back another time, or whatever it is. You want to minimize those pathways as much as possible. So once again, I hope that this video has been helpful. It's been a bit longer than usual. I'm surprised. I don't usually make very long videos, as most of you know. So yeah, I hope all of you have enjoyed this video. I hope that it has been helpful for you guys who are currently using this in your business. Or I hopefully, if you don't have a business, you're able to maybe use this in other areas of your life. I'm not too sure. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you guys in the next one.